Welcome to Legacy Lounge, the podcast where you'll discover how to lead with purpose and build a legacy that matters. So if you're ready to step into your full potential, show up authentically for yourself and others, and create a lasting impact on the world, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Hello and welcome back to the Legacy Lounge. I'm your host, Brin'na Rollins-Williams, and I got to tell you about a text that I got from a client last week. It made me fist pump and shout with joy and happiness and excitement because my client had just gotten out of a presentation that bombed. Now, her VP was not happy. There was feedback that it needed to be completely different. But here's what her text said. This meeting really showed me how poorly myself and my team is being guided right now, which was great. She said, great. Not, I failed, I bombed, not, I should have done more, I could have done better, this is my fault. She said, which was great. That one word, great, is everything I want to talk about today. Because sometimes the meeting that bombs is exactly the clarity that you have been asking for. So here's what actually happened. The setup is my client is a high-performing leader stuck in very dysfunctional workplace political drama and has been for months. Toxic politics, unclear decision rights, a coworker trying to box her out, and she's been questioning herself and how she is the problem, and am I the problem? So we've been coaching together now for about 6 weeks, and we started by documenting everything that's happening, preparing for some of the hard conversations that need to be had, and then came this meeting. But she walked in prepared, she walked in calm, and she walked in clear. She had delivered exactly what her manager had asked for, and the manager's VP wasn't happy. The context is too granular for CMO audience, is what was said. And here's the kicker. My client had flagged this internally weeks prior. She even said, this is too detailed for the audience we're delivering the presentation to. And her manager's direction was, keep it at that level anyway. So my client executed, and she executed well on the bad direction, and then got the feedback that it was wrong. 6 weeks ago, this would have sent my client into a spiral, coming out of that meeting, asking herself, what did I miss? Why didn't I push back harder? This is all my fault. I could have avoided this. But instead, she saw it as evidence that the dysfunction she had been experiencing was not made up in her mind. The system was broken, and it wasn't her job to fix it. For months, she had been trying to articulate this dysfunction in every way possible within the company. People kept telling her to work it out or communicate better. But this meeting showed her VP in real time that the problem was not her communication. The problem was that the leader above her was not aligned. She didn't have to throw anybody under the bus. She didn't come emotionally charged to rant about how unhappy she is. The work exposed the broken system itself. That's the gift. The shift that happened was going from survival mode into strategic mode. And when you're talented and driven and you've been conditioned to believe that if something goes wrong, you just need to work harder. You need to be smarter. You need to anticipate better. In healthy systems, that works brilliantly, but you also have to be able to reflect, learn, and improve. And in a dysfunctional system, that instinct becomes a trap. And you start trying to compensate for broken leadership by being perfect yourself. You try to read other people's minds. You try to predict what leaders want before they even know themselves. And you can't do that. Nobody can. So here's what we've been working on for 6 weeks. We named the dysfunction. You're not crazy, the system is broken. We documented everything. Every time her instincts were overruled and then proven right, every conversation where she asked for clarity but didn't get it, needed resolution but was left on red, all of it. We prepared for the hard conversations. We had strategic framing and not emotional venting to protect how she represents herself, but also protected the intention behind the conversation that needed to be had. We also protected her nervous system. Breath work, boundaries, permission to rest instead of spiraling, and we built an exit strategy on her timeline, not theirs. 6 weeks ago, the question that she had asked me was, am I the problem? And last week, this showed how poorly guided we are, which was great. That's not just a mindset shift. That is strategic clarity. And she's got it. She's got it all. And now she's interviewing externally. She's documenting everything still. She's protecting her energy, and she's still delivering on her job. And when she walks into her next meeting, she's going to reference the bombed presentation as concrete evidence of the leadership misalignment that she has been articulating. That's not as a complaint. That's as data. So here's 5 signs that you might be in a broken system and that it might not be you that's the problem. If you're listening to this and think, that sounds like me, well, here's 5 signs that you're not the problem and that the system is. 1, you know the right answer, but you're overruled. You flag the issues, but leadership ignores you. And then you get blamed when things blow up. Number 2, leaders above you are not aligned. Your manager wants A, but your boss expects B, and you're executing C while everyone else points the finger. 3, you're exhausted from reading minds. You spend more energy predicting what leaders want rather than actually doing the work that you know needs to be done. 4, other teams see your value, but your direct leader doesn't. Cross-functional partners come to you for strategy. Your own manager deflects credit. And number 5, your body is telling you to leave. Anxiety before meetings, dread on Sunday nights, relief when calls get canceled. All of that is telling you something. And here's what I need you to hear, is that you can't succeed in a system designed to keep you confused. No amount of working harder will fix that. The only thing that fixes is seeing clearly and deciding what you want to do about it. So if you're listening to this episode and recognizing yourself in this story, here's what you need to know. That bad meeting, that moment when something went terribly wrong, it might actually be the gift that you've been asking for, because it gives you proof that you're not crazy. It gives you evidence that the system is broken, and it gives you clarity about what you need to do next. Coaching doesn't fix your toxic workplace, but it does help you see clearly so that you can make strategic choices about what comes next and what to do next. My client got the gift last week, and she's using it to build her future. So what about you? If you're ready to stop surviving the dysfunction and start strategizing your next move, head to legacyfulfilled.com, book a call with me, or DM me on socials, and let's get to work. You're not stuck. You're just seeing the system for the first time. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it, and it changes everything forever. I'm your host, Brin'na Rollins-Williams. I'll catch you next week. That's it for this episode of Legacy Lounge, a podcast dedicated to empowering you to lead with purpose. Remember, leadership begins with you. When you're connected to your values, strengths, and authentic self, you show up powerfully for your team, businesses, and everyone you lead. To authentically lead others, you must first lead yourself. I challenge you to consider, how are you investing in your personal growth to create a legacy that you envision? Thank you for joining me in the Legacy Lounge. If this episode sparked any thoughts or inspired action, I'd love to hear from you. I'm your host, Brin'na Rollins-Williams. Connect with me on LinkedIn or other socials, and let's continue the conversation. Remember, your legacy is built one intentional step at a time.